Hello and welcome to another edition of the Big Ideas Show today with Rachel Gristock.
Hi.
And we are talking about goals, but specifically, when is it the right time for your goal? So Rachel, why should people listen in?
Okay, so if you've got something that you want to achieve or something that you're achieving at the moment, I'm going to talk about something that happened to me recently where I got kind of stuck doing something that I was doing and how I turned it around and reinvigorated my passion for doing it, and how I went through the process of questioning whether I should be doing it at all, and when I was going to get back to it, and just looking at that big picture and making it all better.
Brilliant, cool. So if that's you, then listen in. Big Ideas Show. Rachel's going to be telling us more up next. The Big Ideas Show with Liù Batchelor, proudly supported by BowlPhish Glass Services. Hello and welcome along to the Big Ideas Show. Today I am joined by Rachel Gristock. Rachel, hello.
Hi everyone, thanks for having me.
Thank you for coming and joining me today. So today's conversation, we're going to be chatting, aren't we, about goals, but with a slightly different viewpoint of kind of sometimes those goals that you've put to bed or put to one side, or maybe when we should put things to one side, but then maybe when we should revise them. So do you want to give us a little bit of backstory about your goal? Because we're going to be talking very much, aren't we, around the context is going to be your goal and how you've approached it.
Yeah.
And then we're going to be taking some of the learning that you've taken from that hopefully some of our listeners can benefit from. So yeah, go for it. Do you want to give us some backstory?
Yeah, backstory. About 8 years ago, I moved down to Folkestone. And I could see the real potential in the place. It was just picking up. The fast train hadn't yet started, but it was definitely in the bag. And I really felt that the creative quarter and the foundation and everything that was going on was really going to lift Folkestone.
Yeah.
I think I remember a couple of years ago there was a survey and the word that people associated with Folkestone was potential.
Okay. I like that word.
Yeah, and I saw so much potential in Folkestone. I was so happy to move here. I'm a seaside girl anyway because I'm originally from Swansea in South Wales, and we do our coastline very well there too. But I loved the fact that it was an hour from London. And I loved the architecture and the seaside and the art, and everything was just wow.
Yeah.
But the amazing thing is when I moved down, I really had to look for that information.
Okay.
It was getting information out of our internet, the most comprehensive information source on our planet. And it was like getting blood out of a stone. There were things that I found when I moved down here that didn't exist at all on the internet, like that wonderful play park down on the coastal park for the kids. The amazing cinema where it's like stepping back in time.
Yeah.
And so we set up a business, which was an estate agency, and we were very excited about the prospect of this growth, the down from Londons, if you like, coming down, and the art scene expanding and all of that. We were really excited about it. And Fast Train came along, and even though we were running a very successful letting agency at the time, we weren't seeing the Londoners coming. And I thought, gosh, that's odd. And then I remembered how little I had found on the internet when I moved down. I thought, oh, okay, we're going to have to do something about that. So I started a website called folkestonetouristinformation.co.uk. And that was about 5 or 6 years ago now. And I put all the main things on there: the sandy beach, the coastal park, the seafront walks, and a few hotels that I rated, that sort of thing. I published it and it went immediately to Google #1 for Folkestone Tourist Information key phrase. And I went, wow. And I ran it non-stop for 5 years after that.
I feel like I did my bit
Yeah.
to help Folkestone grow.
Yeah.
Everything else has been handled pretty much by the DeHards and the good people of Folkestone.
Yeah.
But I've put that information out there on the internet, and people found us and they came.
Yes.
If you build it, they will come.
Yeah. And
God,
I guess
that's corny.
and I guess this story is relevant, isn't it, for anyone looking to make a difference for their town. Like, we're talking here today specifically about Folkestone.
Yes.
But obviously anyone who's not from Folkestone, or even not from the UK, if it's this regeneration story, isn't it?
Yes.
It sounds like you wanted to bring more people and for the place you live to be better.
Yeah. I mean, in order for Folkestone to be successful, economically speaking, we needed more people to move down here.
Yeah.
We needed the people who were living and working in London to live down here and work in London and bring their money into our economy so that we could further develop it. And if that didn't happen, then we wouldn't move on.
Yeah.
It would have fizzled out. Or it might have just not been as successful as it currently is. And yeah, so there was a little piece of the puzzle, just a very, very small one, but it was missing. And I thought, do you know what? I'm just going to pop that in there.
Yes.
And I did.
Yes. So that was your goal.
That's where I started.
Yes, about 5 years ago, you said.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And you built it up. It's out there. People can go to it. They can find it.
Well, that's the funny thing. It's not there now.
Okay. And here we come to, I guess, your goal.
Yeah.
And kind of, I guess, the crux of this discussion, isn't it? Around you set your goal. You achieved your goal to some level.
Yes.
But it was an ongoing thing, and that's where the change comes in, doesn't it? So
yeah.
So what happened once you got it set up? Then what?
Just before last summer just gone, there was a problem with the website. Security was breached on it, and it was hacked. And at that time, I did not have the money to throw at it to put it back together again. I also had a lot of work to do myself in order to pay my bills.
Yeah.
And I had to take the most heart-wrenching decision that not the most one, but a pretty big heart-wrenching decision to stop and actually say, no, I need to focus on my children and paying the bills and my other business. Yeah. Because up until then, the website, Folkestone Tourist Information, had been running at about a £600 loss every year. Yeah. And I loved it. I loved running the website. I loved doing it. I loved going out, trekking around Folkestone, taking beautiful pictures and then uploading them onto the website, writing new copy. I love writing. Writing's like, I love it. It just makes me feel... It makes me feel like I've expressed myself. Yeah. But I had to make that decision that some things are more important. And I thought to myself, right, I will step back and say to myself, I'll stop it and I can always come back to it. Yeah. And I will admit that before the website went down, I was feeling a little like I'd lost my mojo for the thing that I wanted to do. Yeah. It's a bit like, I don't know, going to the gym and doing the same workout for 6 months, 3 times a week, and not getting the results that you want from it. Yeah. Because you have lost your oomph. You're not doing that extra 3 reps that you should be doing to make it burn. Yeah. You're just there going through the motions. Yeah.
Well, it's kind of that thing, if we stay the same, if we stay still, we essentially are going backwards.
Yes.
In a lot
yes,
of
indeed.
Cases. Yeah.
So, yeah, I did lose my oomph before the hack occurred. And... yeah, it was a hard decision to make, but I had to make it. Yeah. So now my domain, it forwards onto a different domain of mine, and it's got some very, very minimal information in it, but it's nothing along the lines of it was before.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I've stepped back.
Yeah.
From that.
And you feel, and it sounds like you feel like even though it was hard, it was the right thing to do.
Oh, yes.
And it's a very hard step, isn't it? Like you said, you stepped back. It wasn't necessarily a stop, but it was a pause. And that's a hard thing to do. But ultimately, you felt better for it. And I think that's kind of one of our key things for this discussion, isn't it? Is going, when should you pause? And we're specifically saying pause, aren't we? Because so tell us what is kind of going on now. So you had a pause.
Well, I've had a chance to step back.
Yep.
Look at the bigger picture. Mm-hmm. And because I've stepped back, it's like a rest is as good as a change.
Yeah.
And I am invigorated and excited to get back to it this year.
Okay. Awesome.
And to rebuild the website.
Yep.
And I've made myself a promise that I'm not going to take a loss on it anymore.
Awesome.
No financial loss on the website, because it is there to benefit everyone. Mm-hmm. And I'm going to get out there and I'm going to ask small businesses to help me.
Yeah.
Just a very small amount from a lot of them.
Yeah.
And, the website, when it was up, it was receiving a minimum of 200 visitors a day.
Yep.
I think on a summer weekend, you'd be looking more like 500 people a day. And on a really special day, I think like when we had a royal visit recently, it went up to 1,500 people. It was like, wow. So I know that there's great value in the site, and that I am giving good value. Mm-hmm. And as a result of that, I'm going to ask small businesses to help me make this work financially for me, so that I can carry on doing something that I really love doing. Yeah,
definitely. And that contributes to others. So I like it. Yeah. So we're going to take a quick break now, but we're going to come back, and I really want to chat more about that bit, that kind of how do we and how do the listeners out there take it from, oh, I don't want to pause, but I need to, and seeing the benefits, and then how do we start it back up again? Yep. So we'll be back in a little bit.
The Big Ideas Show. Proudly supported by BowlPhish Glass.
So we're back. Rachel Gristock is my guest for today.
Hello.
Hello. And we have been talking, you've been telling us kind of, I guess, the backstory behind your goal. And now I'd like to take it kind of to look more about that really hard bit of your goal of going, you know what, this is going on pause. And I guess for me personally, when I've had to do similar sorts of things in the past and going, I worry that, oh, will I start it back up again if I pause it?
Yeah.
And maybe is the thing, if you do end up putting it on pause and don't want to start it back up again, is that the sign that it wasn't maybe right in the first place?
Definitely.
Yeah.
From stepping back from it, I have returned invigorated and excited.
Yeah.
And wanting to make it happen.
Yeah.
And that is a very different place that I was when I stepped back. Don't get me wrong, I had a huge amount of regret, and actually guilt.
Really?
Guilt. Okay. Oh my goodness me, the guilt was just like, I knew that the website was there, and that hundreds of people every day would visit it looking for information, wanting to come.
Yeah.
Not to mention that it was a triennial year.
Yeah.
Oh, I felt terrible.
And for those outside of Folkestone, that's a big festival that happens every 3 years here in Folkestone. But yeah, go on. Sorry, carry on.
So the fact that it was a bigger year as far as tourism was concerned, and for personal reasons, I had to step back.
Yeah.
The guilt was just overwhelming. And I can imagine that a lot of people who are looking to achieve goals or are stuck on their goal or stalled will be feeling guilty about the fact that they are stuck.
Yes, and guilty. I'd kind of say as well. Add to that guilty and a sense of that they weren't determined enough, they weren't focused enough, and that that kind of idea of I've not been my word, or I've not stuck to my thing, and then you get that it's kind of like, oh, I trusted myself to be able to fill on this goal, and now I don't trust myself because I haven't done it. Yeah. And then, like if a friend lets you down, you then don't trust them the next time. That's what I worry with kind of quitting things, is that the next time I go into something, be it different or the same thing, that I will doubt myself more and my ability to do it, because you've learned these habits. Oh, well, if I did it that time, what's to say I won't do it again?
Yes. Yeah. But then sometimes it's just not the right time. Yeah.
And I think, and when we were talking kind of leading up to this show, we were saying that, weren't we? This idea of we set these goals, and like when we're recording this show, we're coming up to New Year's. I think this conversation is relevant any time of year, to be honest, but specifically at New Year or at key birthdays or stuff like that.
It is the month of broken promises.
Yeah, exactly right. And it's bad that we're talking about New Year's and we're already going into it going, knowing that we're going to set a New Year's resolution and probably not fulfill it.
Yeah, I don't make New Year's resolutions.
Yeah, okay.
I don't. For that exact reason. Yep. Why wait once a year to make a decision that's going to change your life?
Yeah.
That's madness.
And do you think we place more significance on it at this time of year because it's New Year, and therefore more expectation, more potential guilt because of the time of year, rather than if we just set it at another time?
I think that people see the turning of the calendar as a slate wiper.
Yeah.
And it's nice that people can feel that way, but the fact of the matter is that you can wipe that slate clean any time of the year that you like. If you want something bad enough, then you can decide on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, or Saturday, even Sunday, without guilt. And you can decide to change, step back. Yeah. Or engage or anything. You can make decisions any day of the year. New Year's is...
Do you think it's romantic? That people like the romanticism of the 1st of January, this is the time, and...
It's a level of optimism. Yeah. This year I will. But, yeah. And I encourage optimism, for sure. I'm not very good at it. But yeah, I think that New Year's is about wiping the slate clean. Yeah. And that's how people generally see it. But my perspective is apart from dry January, which is kind of more of a necessity for the health of our internal organs. Yeah. I think, and other resolutions can be made at any time, including New Year.
Yeah, and let's go back onto that a little bit. You say at any time of year.
Yes.
And you mentioned earlier about time. It's the right time for your goal. So let's go back to your goal a little bit, shall we? And what was the difference then between when you decided to take a pause and now, and this idea that sometimes your goal is still your goal. If it's really important to you, it won't go away. It will keep niggling you. Yeah. But sometimes it's not the right time. Either you mentioned about having like other commitments and having family commitments. It's not the right time to do it. Yet, is there that, like I said, that guilt that I have to do it, rather than going no, be patient. And what's your experience of it, and what would you kind of maybe recommend as a result of what you've learned?
I put a lot of pressure on myself in my personal and my professional life. And I don't want to... the word perfectionism is a very harsh word.
Yeah.
But it is something that's been a large feature in my life.
Okay.
And it's quite hard to live with.
Okay.
Perfectionism excludes outside factors. And the outside factor for me was time and money.
Yeah.
That was the bottom line. And I look back to when I first put the website together, I was actually on maternity leave.
Yeah.
And at that time, I had a lot of time to think about why it was that we weren't getting those down from London's in through the door to rent a property whilst they think about moving down here permanently. Because that was the pattern, basically, is they would come down and they'd look at the house prices and go, wow, that's cheap. I could commute. How much is the rail fare? There's a sandy beach. I'm in. That was the way that it happened eventually. And I had time to think about how what was missing that was stopping them doing that. So I had time at the time.
Yeah.
I was also on maternity leave, so I was effectively being paid to stay at home and look after my baby.
Yep.
And when my baby slept, I would, put the washing in, do the usual housey stuff, and then I would sit down and write some content for the website.
Yeah.
Do stuff. Because let's face it, I mean, when you have a baby, your whole identity becomes mum.
Yeah.
Mum. And everything that you do is for the baby.
Yeah.
And so it's an entirely healthy thing to focus on something else, to feel like you are something other than just mum.
Yeah.
And I don't say just mum in any kind of derogatory way, because, wow, mums are so important. But you go from being a career person to being effectively almost stuck inside, especially when you have a winter baby, which I had twice. You feel like you can't really go out because it's raining or it's freezing out there, and you become stuck in the house.
Yeah.
So I had time, and I had financial support. And I decided that it was the right time to step back.
Yeah.
Because I didn't have time, and I didn't have financial support. But now I've decided that I love doing it so much that I have to find a way to have time and get financial support.
That's quite interesting. Because I guess it sounded like, okay, well, just do your goals when you've got the time. But like you said, the reality is if you really love it, and if it's something you just have to do for yourself and for other people, there's never really going to be a right time. Life is always around and in the way and taking up our time. Yeah. To kind of just do it anyway and I like how you said there, make time, make it work.
Yes. Or find a way. Well, at the end of the day, getting financial support for the work that I do will give me time.
Yeah.
Because I'll be able to spend less time on my clients in my freelance job, and more time getting paid to support the economic development of Folkestone.
Yeah.
And that's great. So really getting the financial support, getting sponsors for the website, that sort of thing.
Yeah.
That is.
Yeah, and I guess it kind of also, you said in the last thing you were saying about something for folks and feeling guilty that you weren't providing this service, and there's a lot of value there that you had to offer. And that's the true measure of if people do value something, is if they're willing to pay for it. And so I think it's quite a nice thing as well, isn't it?
Yeah.
That you're looking for that you get that opportunity to refine and go, right, okay, you're offering lots of value, but where's the most value? I.e., what's the thing that people will pay for and support you in?
Yes.
I guess you've got this odd thing, haven't you, that you've got the tourists or the person kind of reading the site, and then you've got the people who are funding it will be different.
Yeah.
But ultimately, it's this beautiful mix of who's getting value. Like, everyone needs to get value in some way or another.
Yeah.
And playing that game and balancing it all is it's a fun challenge, it sounds like.
Yeah. No, I've had an idea on how to do this without making without asking too much from the small businesses in Folkestone. And one of the things that I do on the side is I help people save money on their bills. And in particular, commercial electricity, gas, telephone, etc. Is actually quite a difficult thing to get a good quote for. And it's something that what I would like to do is I would like to offer those businesses the chance to either sponsor the website or become a commercial energy and telecoms customer of mine. And then I will get paid because they are using their electricity and gas, which they were using anyway. The only obligation that they have is not to take the contract, but actually just to let me give them a quote. So if they're not saving money, they don't have to sign up with me. And if they come back every year and get a quote with me, then they can stay on the site.
And the thing, I guess, the thing that it sounds like there is like looking at different ways of achieving your goal, right? Because you had one idea of this is how I think I'm going to achieve my goal before, and now you're going, well, there's lots of other routes. Like this is my goal here, and I'm currently here, but I can go that way or route B or route C, and it's seeing it in different lights, isn't it? Which is quite nice.
Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, I have run a small business in town, and I do know how hard it is. I've paid those rates. Oh my goodness me! And what I would like to do is create a situation where big business actually pays for the work that I do, not little business.
Yeah.
And big business pays commission for people like me to go out and help people find the best deal on their electricity and gas and telecoms and things like that. So in effect, I'd be going there, getting them the best deal that they can possibly get. And then I get paid to do Folkestone tourist information by the big energy companies who we all know are, well, overcharging everyone terribly at the moment. So it kind of feels karmically awesome.
Okay. Yeah. Nice.
So that is my goal.
Okay, cool. Nice. There we go. It's declared.
It is declared. There it is.
Right. It's a nice time. We'll take a quick break and then we'll be back in a little bit to chat some more.
Great.
The Big Ideas Show. Proudly supported by BowlPhish Glass Services.
Part 3 of the Big Ideas Show, here with Rachel talking goals.
Hello there.
Hello. And we are talking, so we thought this section we'd kind of wrap up a little bit, wouldn't we? In terms of, I guess, what the learning is to be taken from your situation and your goal. And I guess we've got two areas really, haven't we? This idea of when your goal is maybe not progressing how you want it to, and then also whether you revive that goal and when you revive that goal, or do you just go, no, it's not right, get rid of it, start something else. So should we start with the first one?
So for those listening, think of a goal. It's either something that you want to do, or it's something that you're currently doing. Yeah,
I reckon most people, it's normally the case, isn't it? Most people have a goal that's in the back of their mind that has been there for years, and they're kind of half working on it, or they keep thinking, oh, I should get back to that.
Yeah, I must get round to doing that thing.
Yeah. And I don't know, you know what, like, we're talking about goals, but I always think sometimes when it's a goal that's been sitting there, not doing anything, or doing something but not getting the results you hope to get from your goal, to kind of let it go. And maybe this is harder than setting a goal, is letting go of those other things, right? Because as you said, guilt, massive guilt that, oh, I should be doing this. But I always like asking the people question, why should you? Why should you do, like, okay, so if I was to ask you, why should you do Folkestone tourist information? Like, beside the fact that you love it, you don't have to.
Yeah, the honest answer is, I shouldn't. 5 years of pouring like £600 a year down into the Folkestone general benefit coffers.
Well, and that's just
why on earth? People think I'm a little bit mad, actually.
Well, that doesn't even account for all your time, right?
No.
Like,
no, that's my financial loss, not my actual time spent.
Yeah.
So I guess it's a lot more than that.
And how much did that take up your energy? So when you first started it, and like you said, when you were on maternity leave, you were doing it, you were loving it, it was giving you this sense of identity. In addition to being
purpose,
a mum.
Yes. An alternative non-mummy purpose.
And that and if that was your goal, it sounds like it perfectly served that.
Yes.
But then beyond that, how much energy did you have kind of maybe beating yourself up that you weren't doing more, getting stressed about how, am I losing money on this? Shouldn't it be like this? Like, I don't know. Is that something you've thought about? What percentage of your time did you kind of like put into worrying about it?
It was a constant kind of background fuzz, really.
Okay.
But it just got louder and louder and louder.
Yeah.
So a few years back, I got invited to consult on, and I should say not in a paid way, but invited to consult on the Shepway Tourist Development Plan, and that plan was put together, and a lot of people were asked to consult on it. A lot of the people that I work with regularly around tourism. And every single person in the room was a not paid volunteer, just like me, in some way had got involved. There were a couple of paid people in there, like people who work for White Cliffs and of course the incredible John Barber. And there were a few people from the council there.
Yeah.
And but the majority of people around the room were being asked to carry on doing what they're doing, in fact do more, but not get any recompense or support for that. The output of that meeting was an incredible piece of work done by an outside consultancy, which, if they implemented, would make an enormous difference to Folkestone and Sandgate and Hythe, Romney Marsh, basically Shepway. And they had some brilliant ideas, but no financial support to implement them. And, I would estimate they probably spent about 3 or 4 days' effort just on attending those meetings and responding to questions and things like that. But at the end of it, nothing happened.
Yeah. I
would estimate thousands of pounds were spent on creating that report. Yeah. And don't get me wrong, great value in that report. It needs to be done. But I felt a little bit... that's when the rot kind of set in my head. That's when it started to go a bit wrong, because I felt like those who actually should be responsible for tourism are not acting on what they need to do. Yeah. They're saying they know what to do, but they're not actually doing it. Yeah. And they're not supporting me and all of those other lovely people in the room who are doing such fantastic work. Yeah. And I started to think, maybe there's no value in what I'm doing. Yeah. And that's, I think, when goals, when it is time to put your goal, you hit it there, right there. Yeah. Is there any value in what I'm doing? Yeah. And you said that, and this kind of crosses over into when you're offering your time as a volunteer as well, doesn't it? Like, if you have to, if you're doing something for free, you have to get intrinsic personal value, motivation, or a good, fuzzy, warm, nice feeling from something if you're choosing to do something for free. Yeah. But if you're doing it for free, that only warm, nice, fuzzy feeling comes if you can see people benefiting from the time that you're giving for free. And if you're not, or they're not, or whoever's kind of you're wanting to provide value to isn't taking any action. Yeah. It's quite hard to keep that warm, fuzzy feeling, isn't it? It is, really, yeah. My motivation was sort of like, it was getting flushed down the toilet, basically. Yeah. And I think the hack was the last straw. And I knew I still wanted to do it, and I knew that I loved doing it. Yeah. It had social value, the people that I met, the going out and taking pictures and and liaising with people about when events are on and all that all of that was good.
Yeah.
It was good for me and it was good for everyone. But yeah, I lost my oomph.
And I guess, is it because this goes back to, I guess, looking at kind of goals as a whole, and this idea of, you know, we often set, don't we, a goal, we put a goal has to have, you know, everyone knows, a lot of people know about SMART goals, and it has to be tangible and all this kind of stuff. But the tangible stuff is only to provide you a tool to feel the positive, whatever the personal and supporting other people impact that you want to make, right?
Yeah.
And sometimes we realize the route that we're taking isn't necessarily the best route.
Yeah.
And it sounds like taking that step back for you allowed you to go, right, I still want to achieve for you and for Folkestone what your goal was all about.
Yes.
But the route to doing it is maybe not optimum. But there's another route.
Yes.
And for me, that's where we should look to put our goals on pause, not the impact and the positive difference we want to make, but consider a different option. But when you're halfway from Folkestone to Canterbury, it's very hard to see another route because you might be on a country road, you can't see over the high hedges, so you can't see the other routes. Whereas if you go back to where you started and go, right, what other routes? You go, oh yeah, why didn't I go up the motorway? Yeah. That would have been much quicker. But you can't see it while you're on the route, right?
Why don't you just stop and turn your sat-nav on?
And go, oh yeah, there are lots of different routes.
Get informed advice.
Yeah. And you know what? You may try one route, and it's not until you try it that you know something's not right. It's not until you get up that road that you realise, oh yeah, there's roadworks going on, or there's snow, or whatever it may be. So I guess it is, maybe we're saying trying different routes could put people into thinking, oh, okay, working out exactly the right route, but you will never know the right route until you try it.
No. But what you'll find is that if you're doing something that you really love, that the tide or the current of what you're doing will take you there.
Yeah, and that we're going to take a little break in a little bit, but just to kind of pick on something there, kind of you're saying about when you're loving what you do, or is there a little bit that if we love what we do too much, not too much, but if we really love what we do, we're kind of maybe not present to the fact that we're not going down the optimum route to achieve our goals because we're too caught up in the warm fuzzy feeling and loving it, even if it's not actually achieving our goals. But then it depends whether our goal is to achieve the goal, and I'm saying that in inverted commas for all you people listening auditory.
Stuff you want to do.
Yeah. Versus if we're just enjoying it, is that maybe if that's the goal? Sometimes the goal is just to enjoy it. Yeah.
Yeah.
And surely that should be our life goal, just to enjoy our life.
Oh yeah. And you know,
just to throw it much wider there.
Yeah. Yes, indeed. Enjoy life. And not in a Coke way. Yeah, I think that if you enjoy doing something, then it will happen for you.
Yeah.
And if you start to go off the boil, doing something that you genuinely enjoy, something's not right. So maybe it's a great idea to stop, step back, look at the bigger picture.
Yeah.
And prioritize your goal, or just spend some time rethinking what it is that you're doing and why you're doing it.
Yeah.
And if a course correction is required, thinking about why you're doing something often puts you in the right direction.
Yeah. Yeah, just a little pivot, right, isn't it? We can be in the same spot, just changing direction can send us in a whole...
Slight direction.
Yeah, slight change in the winds can set a whole new course over, like you said, a few months, a few years even. Like you said, doing it for 5 years, like that slight change in direction over time is going to make a big difference, isn't it? So.
I mean, you could be sailing across an ocean and you've got your sails up and the wind is taking you. You don't seem to be making the kind of progress that you thought you would. And so you stop and you take your sails down. And then you suddenly realise that you've been fighting the current the whole time.
Yeah.
your sail is down, and you are just sitting in a current that takes you where you need to go.
Yeah.
Because you stopped and thought about it, and then looked over the side and went, jolly good.
Go with the flow.
Yeah. Maybe I need to adjust my sails.
Yeah. Okay.
Take them down, move them to another direction, whatever. If you're not moving forward the way that you think you should be, then you need to stop and think.
Yeah. Definitely. Okay, that's an awesome place to leave this section. We'll be back in a little bit.
The Big Ideas Show. Proudly supported by BowlPhish Glass Services.
So I hope you have enjoyed the show today, listeners. We have been talking goals, and hopefully you've kind of maybe seen a possibility to either, this sounds so pessimistic, but to possibly quit your goals, put them on pause, or restart a goal that maybe you put to bed a few weeks, a few months ago. But let us know what you think, what you're doing about your goals. I want to say a massive thank you to Rachel.
Oh, you're very welcome. It's been great.
It's been great to have you on. And yeah, good luck with your goal. Like, it's really exciting hearing you talking about it. And,
I'm really excited about it.
Yeah, and seeing you light up as well. Like, we came in, it's quite early here that we're recording it, and we both had our coffee. But you kind of lit up and you said yourself you feel more awake now. And maybe that's another tip for kind of listeners is, if when you talk about it you don't really light up, maybe it's time to pause. Whereas if you do find yourself getting excited, like Rachel was, then maybe you're onto something. A rest is as good as a change, as they say. There we go. Exactly. So thank you, Rachel. Also, a couple other thank yous to give. Thank you to the Academy FM Folkestone for hosting us in their studios here. And also thank you to BowlPhish Glass Services for helping us put together these lovely videos that we're putting out, to get them out there to you guys, so that hopefully you can kind of turn your ideas to reality, and then we can help you on that journey. So we're going to say goodbye now, but Rachel, one last time, how can people, if people want to get in touch, if they want to support what you're doing at the Folkestone Tourist Information, or if they've got any questions about goals and going, should I quit? How should they get in touch with you?
So if you'd like to talk to me about how I turned it around, or if you're a small business owner, restaurant, even big business, actually, big hotels, cafes, any small to medium business in Folkestone, and you want to support me, which you definitely should. Yes, exactly. By saving money on your bills, so you will actually spend less and help. Then please get in contact. You can email me at rachel@folkestonetouristinformation.co.uk, and Rachel's with an EL. Brilliant. And you're going to be linked on the Facebook page and all the various socials, so people can also find you on there, can't they? Yes, they can. Link through, give you a wave. Yes. Say hi. I'm on Facebook as Rachel Gristock as well, so you can find me there. Brilliant. Rachel, thank you very much indeed. And listeners, thank you for tuning in, and hopefully we'll see you for another week of The Big Idea Show. The Big Ideas Show with Liù Batchelor. Proudly supported by BowlPhish Glass Services.